going on, everybody? Welcome back down to my library, and we have an obstruction here, but I was trying to figure out this whole setup and everything. But welcome back to another video. This is gonna be my 25 books in 2025 TBR. So, I have a wide range of books here that deals with horror, lit fic, memoirs, and nonfiction. So, I did this video last year, and out of that whole challenge, I read like 7 books out of that entire challenge. So I'm going to try my best to read as much as I can this year on top of some of the other stuff that I do want to read. So that's one of my goals this year, is to delve into genres and all that. So besides like doing Stephen King, which I am currently working on, The Wastelands, I got these to go through. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this video started. That was already a long-winded intro. So in no particular order, the first book I want to show off is from last year. I just didn't get to it. This is Ronald Malfi's Black Mouth. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he actually signed this. Yep. So, I met him at AuthorCon last year, and I've been really wanting to get more into Ronald Malfi. So, this is his version of it. So, it's just basically about like these 4 childhood friends that fight a sinister force, and I believe this has something to do with alcohol abuse and substance abuse, so it's definitely going to be a tough read for sure. But that is book number 1, Ronald Malfi's Black Mouth. Coming up next is a book that I could have obviously read last winter, but it is technically winter still. Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. And this is basically a winter slasher that has a tour go extremely wrong, and there's a creature out in the wilderness. So I've been definitely waiting to get into Darcy Coates a little more. This will be my first foray into that author. So that is Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. Next is one that I definitely want to read this year. In fact, I might have like a dedicated reading vlog to some of these. But this is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, and this is the same author as The Martian, and this is about a astronaut who gets lost in space. So that's all I know. This might be book of the year for me, because I've been really wanting to read this. So quite a chunky book, but I heard that a lot of people fly through this. This goes to 476. But that was Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Next are 2 books by the same author, and I'm surprised I didn't get to either one of these, but they are The Road and No Country for Old Men by Cormac McCarthy. The Road is a post-apocalyptic horror thriller that deals with like a father and son going through a desolate wasteland, and they just fight to survive while they're on the road. So I heard that this is a very depressing novel, but it does end on a hopeful note. So I definitely want to read this year. And I don't think it's that long either. Yeah, it goes up to 287, and it looks like it's pretty decent sized print there. So we'll see what happens. That is Cormac McCarthy's The Road. Switching back, No Country for Old Men, and this is the story that inspired the 2007 Best Picture winner of the same name. And this is about a sheriff who is hunting down this ruthless assassin by the name of Anton Chigurh. Anton Chigurh is a wily dude that just gets away with everything. And he just has like a buttload of money that he's keeping for himself. And this is definitely on my list to read this year. It's not that long either. I think this is a little bit longer than The Road, but this goes up to 309. So not too bad. That is No Country for Old Men by Cormac McCarthy. Next, 18 in Life on Skid Row by Sebastian Bach. And this is obviously his biography of him and Skid Row. You know me, I absolutely love hair metal, and Skid Row is one of my all-time favorite bands, and I've been really wanting to read this, so that should happen this year. And of course it has like a ton of pictures in here. So that's definitely going to happen. 18 in Life on Skid Row by Sebastian Bach. That glare's insane. But moving on. The Ruins by Scott Smith. And this is basically about a group of college students who go to Mexico during the summer or possibly spring break, and they get enveloped in a lost ancient ruin that is more sinister than they think. The ruins are alive. So this is definitely going to be a good summer read for me. The Ruins by Scott Smith. And I've heard that a lot of people aren't too fond of the writing style because there's no chapter breaks. But if it really does work for me, then I will definitely enjoy this. It's supposed to be very, very gory as well. Moving on from there is Video Night by Adam Caesar. And I have read this before, but I definitely wanted a physical copy for myself. This is his version of alien horror. So it's definitely got that 90s aesthetic to it where it definitely feels nostalgic. And there's like an alien invasion that happens in the small town, and everybody gets a annihilated by this alien race. Very good book and very gory. So that was Video Night. Okay, that is pile one. Let's move on to pile two. The next one is Mary by Nat Cassidy. And this is basically about a woman who has like a short memory loss or whatever. And she claims that she goes on these killing sprees. And she doesn't remember doing any of it. So I heard that this is compared to American Psycho, which was a book that I read last year, and I definitely dug it. So that was Mary by Nat Cassidy. Next is a new book. Well, these next few books are new to the challenge. But last year, my favorite book was Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. I just had to read more by this dude. But this is All the Sinners Bleed. And this is about the first black deputy in Virginia. So he investigates a school shooting, and he wants to try and bring the suspect to justice. I definitely do want to read this sometime this year. It's definitely going to happen. But that is All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby. Next, A Boy and His Dog at the End of the World by C.A. Fletcher. This is literary sci-fi, I believe. And this is post-apocalyptic, and that's all I know. But I'm going to read the blurb. My name's Grizz. My childhood wasn't like yours. I've never had friends, and in my whole life, I've not met enough people to play a game of football. My parents told me how crowded the world used to be before all the people went away, but we were never lonely on our remote island. We had each other and our dogs. Then the thief came, and there may be no law left except what you make of it. But if you steal my dog, you can at least expect me to come after you. Because if we're not loyal to the things we love, what's the point? So, very vague on what this is about, but I've definitely been wanting to get into more post-apocalyptic fiction. And you did see The Road on this list, so this is another one. The next one might not be in my comfort zone, but I've been really wanting to get into this author for a while now and try out like historical literary fiction. But this is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. And this is a big dude. This is like nearly 600 pages. And this is about two sisters during World War II. And it's about like their struggles with everything that happened during that time. I believe these sisters may be Jewish. So I think this has something to do with like the Holocaust. Definitely going to be a heavy read. But I want to try some new genres out. But that was Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale. Okay, you can see it. Moving on from there, I have a very short one. This is The Horror by David Sodergren. And I'm going to read the back of this. I don't fear death, but they do. Muriel Macaulay has lived in the Scottish fishing village of Witch Haven all her life. She was born there and she intends to die there. But when an overseas property developer threatens to evict the residents from their homes and raze Witch Haven to the ground in the name of progress, all seems lost. Until the day a mysterious fog bank creeps inland. The horror. To some it brings redemption, to others it brings only madness and death. What macabre secrets lie within the horror? Romantic and deranged, The Horror is a gore-soaked folk horror fairy tale from David Sodergren, author of The Forgotten Island, which I do have on the shelf, and Maggie's Grave, which I don't have. But anyway, this one has been recommended by all horror readers, and it's definitely my turn to get into David Sodergren. So that is my intro, The Horror. This is only, besides the afterword, the whole story is 200 pages. And then there's like a very small short story at the end of this, so definitely not a long one. But that is The Horror by David Sodergren. Again. This is getting quite large. I'm not done yet. Okay. The next new addition to this challenge is a very popular horror book that went around BookTube last year. Incidents Around the House by Josh Mallerman. And this is a horror story that deals with like a little girl who is in contact with an entity called Other Mommy. So I've heard a lot of people say that this is extremely creepy and it'll definitely give you nightmares. But then I've heard from some people that it's really not all that good. Now I've only read Pearl by Josh Mallerman, and I have a couple more by him on my shelves, but I really wanted to read this one. That is Incidents Around the House. And the final new addition to this challenge is a book that I actually picked up at AuthorCon when I talked to Ronald Malfi. This is his newest book, The Narrows. And this is his vision on vampires. So I'm going to read the back of this. In the aftermath of a terrible storm, the town of Stillwater, Maryland, tries to recover what it has lost. From flooded roads and houses to ruined businesses, the residents of the town begin to clean up and return to normal. In the midst of the cleanup, people begin to see things. Matthew Crawley spies his father in the woodlands above the Narrows, but that could not be possible. Maggie Quedentock nearly hits a child with a car only to find an empty road lying before her. And in the middle of it all, Sergeant Ben Journal is thrust into an impossible investigation. Animals are being slaughtered, their brains systematically removed from their bodies. Something is happening to the town of Stillwater. Something dark and ancient and evil has its grip on everyone. The saying goes, still waters run deep, but no one in Stillwater is prepared to just how deep they run. And no one can possibly be ready for what they might find waiting for them in the dark. So, like I said, I did talk to Ronald Malfi himself, and he said that this deals with like insects, vampires. So it's definitely going to be a cool read. and I definitely can't wait to check this one out. That is The Narrows by Ronald Malfi. I got one more pile. I guess that kind of gives it away, but I digress. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. No, I did not get to this last year, and I really wanted to for October, but this is about a book club filled with moms, and they notice a new guy coming in, and they might suspect that he might be a vampire. So that's all I know. It is set in the 90s, and I heard that this is probably one of his best ones. He actually has a new book coming out tomorrow, which I'm probably going to go sneak it, but The Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, something like that. But I'll have a physical copy when I do my book haul pretty soon. But this is the one that I really want to read next. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. Next is Brother by Anya Alborn. And I'm surprised I did not get to this at all last year either. But this is her vision on like Wrong Turn and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So this is about a deranged family that literally abducts women, and the son is tired of it and he wants to get out of that life. So he tries everything to escape from his deranged family. So I heard that this is very graphic and very, very well done. So I'm actually reading The Shuddering by her. We'll see how I like that one. Then I'll dive into this one throughout the year. But that is Brother by Anya Alborn. Next, Devil House by John Darnielle. And I talked about this book quite a few times during these sorts of videos, but this is taking place during the satanic panic of the 80s, and there is like a true crime writer who moves into like this house, and strange things start happening. Sounds familiar? Well, this thing definitely reminds me of Sinister. So I'm definitely going to try and read this year. That is Devil House by John Darnielle. Cover alone is spectacular. Definitely reminds me of a book that he could have read in the 70s. Almost done. Next I have The Summer Job by Adam Caesar. And this is about a woman who takes a job at a hotel, but the hotel is ran by Satanists. This is definitely one that I want to read maybe over the summer. I might do like a little Adam Caesar vlog or something. So you might see video night in that vlog as well. But this one goes to 243. Summer Job by Adam Caesar. Next, something totally different, but this is my other music nonfiction book. This is Lords of Chaos, The Bloody Rise of the Satanic Metal Underground by Michael Moynihan and Didrik Soderlund. So this is all about the church burnings, that black metal groups were a part of in like the 80s. And this is definitely going to be up my alley because black metal is cool, I guess. But these guys are definitely not nice. But that is Lords of Chaos. Almost there. The next one, The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum. No, I have not read this book yet. That's why it's in the video, but this is known to be like one of the first extreme horror novels ever written. This was released in 1989, and it's a very, very sad story about a girl who is held captive by her aunt, and all the neighborhood boys just abuse her. This is based off of a 1960s case that had Sylvia Likens as the victim. And this is going to be a very hard book to read. So if I'm in the mood, it will happen, I guess. The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum. I got 3 more here. Survive the Night by Riley Sager. Nope, I didn't get to this one either. But I heard that this one is probably one of his weakest books. But I've heard that a lot of people say that he goes down from here. So I don't know what to expect. But this is taking place in like the 90s, and it's about like this girl who goes home from college and she gets into like a car with like this very strange man, and they strike up a friendship, if you will. But then there is like a very, very stupid twist near the end, I've heard, that literally derails this book. We'll see how I like it. But I definitely do want to read at least one Riley Sager this year. Because my God, I'm like missing 6, 7, and now 8. And 9 later this year. Yeah, this is his 5th book that he published. So I'm going to be like 4 books behind if I don't read anything by him. But I digress. That is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. Next to last is Kin by Keelan Patrick Burke. And this is a book that is similar to Brother. And I heard that this one is probably even more gruesome. So it has that Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe to it. And I definitely want to check this thing out. And I actually did read like a couple of Keelan Patrick Burke's short fiction last year. And I really enjoyed the 3 that I read. But this is a full-length novel. So I got some summer reads on here that definitely need some looking at. But that is Kin by Keelan Patrick Burke. And last but certainly not least, Nestlings by Nat Cassidy. Don't mind that. But this is his vision of Rosemary's Baby and Salem's Lot. I've heard a lot of people love this book, and it has a very melancholic tinge to it. So this is about a couple who just had a baby, and the wife is handicapped, I believe. So one day she finds that there are like bite marks on the baby's neck. So when you hear like Salem's Lot meets Rosemary's Baby, this is definitely going to be that book. So, Nestlings by Nat Cassidy. 25 and 25 is complete. And this is definitely going to be a challenge because some of these things are huge. So, my first book that I will definitely get from this pile will be unveiled in my February TBR, because I want to do something with like a vlog coming up for February. So that'll be explained more when I post that video, but these are the 25 books I want to try and get to this year. So I definitely have a wide variety here, but I try to get some new genres in here, but see how I do. Maybe I'll read more than 6 like I did last year, but more than likely my first choice will be a book from last year. So we'll see what happens there. But otherwise, that is all I have for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I inspired you to read some of these books. So if you like this sort of video, I would like it very much if you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let me know if you read any of these books, and we'll talk about it. But that's all I got for this video. Hopefully later tonight, I'll film my Den of Thieves 2 Pantera review. I saw that yesterday, so look forward to that. But otherwise, I'm going to send you on your way. And I'm going to put some videos on the screen that y'all can check out too. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Adios. Peace.